What's up, guys? Welcome back to the doctor's office. I am Dr. K. Rite, here to give you a proper diagnosis and prognosis and everything comics and comic book characters. So, as you guys saw, we did Beneath the Trees Where No One Sees, right? Where nobody sees. And that book was absolutely fucking insane. So, if you haven't seen it, it's about this town called Woodbrook. Woodbrook has a serial killer in it. 2 of them, actually. But the one, her name is Samantha, our main character. She does her serial killing where she picks people outside of Woodbrook. So she goes to the city, kidnaps people, kills them, drains their blood, cuts them up, and puts their body parts in paint cans and buries the paint cans. Well, some guy named Nigel, who had been obsessed with her for God knows how long, started following her around, realized that she too was a serial killer, like he's a serial killer, but he started killing people in town, and then wanted to be her partner, and she told him to go fuck off. So that was like a whole dramatic situation. Now, this one is called Rite to Spring, or Rite to Spring, something like that. And we are still talking about Samantha, and we are still in Woodbrook, but we're going back and forth between Woodbrook and the city. So there is a character who is being introduced. Her name is Monica, and her brother was the duck male, the white duck male that Samantha had kidnapped, cut into pieces, killed, all that stuff, and buried him back there in her little area. And she's been looking for her brother for 8 years. So that whole situation where she kidnapped him and brought him to Woodbrook happened in 1986. So she's been looking for her brother since 1986. Now, she pretty much keeps up the same routine, in which case she goes to these different precincts. I believe she said she's been to like 172. She goes to 2 or 3, or she goes to 2 precincts a week, sometimes 3 or something like that. And it takes her about a year, and then she starts over. And the guy is just like, we don't have any leads. Like, this person that you're looking for is not here. Like, we don't have any leads. We don't know where he could have gone. And they're not wrong. Samantha was very thorough in what she did when she kidnapped them, especially when she kidnapped them in kind of just like an alley in like the most simplest way. And nobody would have really paid it any attention. So like the city, of course, is very crowded. Samantha would be carrying something really heavy, drop something, or seem to be struggling, and they would come and help her or ask her if she needed any help, or she would ask them for help, and then she would put a paper or a plastic bag over their face and take them. And then she drives them to Woodbrook, goes past like Woodbrook into the woods, and kills them out there where nobody is. And then she, cuts them up into pieces, puts them in the paint cans, buries paint cans. She's been doing that for a very long time, even probably before 1986, if we're being honest. But anyway, so Monica has isolated herself. She really doesn't care about anything or anybody. The only thing she wants to do is find her brother. So she goes to a diner. She was invited out by some people, but obviously she didn't want to go. So she goes to a diner, and she goes and she calls her voicemail, and she gets a voicemail from Coroner's office saying that, he has like this standing note that if any white duck males were found, to give her a call. So she gets the call. She runs over there to the morgue, but it's not her brother. So she's upset about that. Now, she spends a whole lot of time online going to these different message boards trying to find her brother, or any clue to where her brother may have been or what may have happened to him or anything like that. And she comes across a particular message that's like, if you're looking for your brother, I suggest going to Woodbrook. So, of course, she is like, hell yes, somebody with a fucking lead, thank you. So she goes to her friend's house like the next day. I would say that this person's a friend, especially with the fact that she knew them well enough to say, I need you to watch my house and I need to borrow your car. And they're like, what? And that would have been my reaction to borrow my car. Girl, what is you saying? Where are you going that you need to borrow my vehicle? That's insane. But they let her borrow the car, and she ends up going to Woodbrook. So when she gets to Woodbrook, she goes to the police precinct, and they're just like, so you're looking for a white duck male? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, so this happened like in 1986? Like, this is like, you're asking for a lot of things, you know what I'm saying? So, and they just had several different murders happen like in the past few months. And so he's just like, I mean, you can look through stuff. And she finds a jacket that belongs to him, or that she's saying belongs to him. And he's just like, we need more than a jacket to like identify this person that you're looking for. And she's like, oh, I have all of the medical things. I have everything. And it's just like, but we don't have any bodies. You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't have any bodies of like this person. But if you want us to look, we can look, type shit. So when she gets out to the car, Samantha is sitting in her car. First of all, why? How? Number one. Number two, why? And she was like, oh, it was me who sent you the message about your brother. Like, all kinds of stuff was happening over the past few months, and I believed that I could basically help you. I was like, she's like, but what are you willing to do in order to get this information? And she's like, I'm willing to do anything to get information about my brother. Samantha, you manipulative bitch. Now, in the next book, everybody's kind of just still reeling from everything that happened. Charlie's family, Charlie, who worked at Samantha's store and had gotten killed by Nigel, his family is kind of just like, spread out. Wendy, I believe, is the oldest. She was in college. She came back home to see her mother, Pauline, and her little brother, who is in high school. And, Bertie still kind of just like stays in or near his house. He does kind of go out, but not really. He stays on the internet looking up stuff. And everybody's kind of just, trying to make the best of a bad situation, essentially. So, this is kind of like where the seeds got planted, because Samantha did tell Monica that it was her that posted about her brother. And so we see like kind of that happened. So at some point in time, while Bertie is walking his dog, there is a bear, and it's like a wild bear. And they actually end up shooting it, which kind of does a little bit of something to Samantha's mind. And she was already planning on sending that information to Monica about her brother. And then she has like these 2 boxes of like bullshot bullets. But then also we see where she has kidnapped somebody and killed them, brought them back. They're doing like a new development somewhere that's like close to Woodbrook. And everything's kind of just like, this is like a little stepping stone so we can get from point A to point B. You know what I'm saying? So we are kind of seeing the mindset of the city. And Bertie's like, oh my God, we're famous, because he sees that Woodbrook is being posted about in all of these places where all of these different murders are taking place. And he's just like, I guess it's really not safe anywhere, because it seems like he was trying to, move or go somewhere or do something so that he didn't have to be here. But it's just like, you leave here, you're still going to go to a place where murders can happen. And so it was a lot. This issue was not really busy. It was kind of just, an exposition piece, trying to give information on, background and how we got here, how Samantha got Monica here, you know what I'm saying, and what everybody's been doing since Nigel had killed those people and then gotten himself killed anyway. And the fact that everybody's still treating Samantha like she's Samantha, you know what I'm saying? Like, because they were accusing her of being the murderer after Nigel basically dug up all of her things. But then they were just like, oh my God, Nigel was the one who did it, which he is. And she is a serial killer. So it's not like nothing was wrong. But, she said, I live here. You're a visitor, ho. Like, you're not about to fuck up nothing I got going on over here. Now, here's when things get quite a bit juicy. Now, Samantha is basically a fucking genius at this point, because she's planting little seeds. You know what I'm saying? So Monica's staying in a hotel. She wakes up and she goes to the library and she wants to know about the murders that happened here, right? So, she goes to the library and she pulls up, like, I think the macro film, and she's like, haven't used these in forever, but here you go. So she's like looking at the newspaper clippings about everything that happened with the murderers, with Nigel, with Sam, everything, right? And the family that Charlie's family that have basically been rocked by the entire thing. And the youngest son, his name is Lewis. He's the one that she really, like, Monica wants to talk to. So we also get a glimpse into Samantha's past, like her past with her parents. I'm going to go off on a limb and say that her parents were her first kill. I don't remember if it says that on the page, but I'm going to go off on a limb and say that. So she wanted to go to college. She does end up going to college, and then she comes back and she's telling her father that she wants to take him up on his offer and run the store because it is a family business, of course. And he's really happy to hear it. And, they start talking about, like, the whole situation, what she'd be doing. And then we get a shot of her actually in the store and her looking at these particular supplies and learning different things about the business and things like that, right? So it all seems normal on the surface. Meanwhile, Monica runs into Lewis and is, like, trying to talk to him. And because one lady's just like, he looks so much like his dad and he's really timid and things like that. So she goes to try to talk to him and she starts kind of just, like, questioning him about the situation, what happened while they're smoking, right? And everybody's just kind of weary of her because her coming into town looking for her brother, and it's a little weird because why do you think your brother's here, right? So, and it's a small town, so everybody knows who she's here for, what she's doing, with things like that. So as he's talking to her, Samantha, as they're getting ready to go have this conversation and smoke, so they walk past Samantha and she's just, like, really smiling, like, all falling into place, I see. And so after they go back there, they're talking about the whole situation, about what happened, how he felt and things like that. Samantha comes out and it's like, hey, go ahead and clock in, what I'm saying? And I will be right back. I actually have to go do something. He's like, are you sure that I'm good to run the counter by myself? And she's like, you'll be perfectly fine. I won't be long, I promise. So she goes and she looks at Monica and she's like, have you thought about what we talked about? And she was like, no, haven't really. And she said, do you have time to walk? And just FYI, I'm not his mom, but he's been through a lot. So you kind of need to chill out. And she's like, no, fair enough. And she's like, look, let's take a walk and talk with me. So, they are having this walk and talk, and we get this flashback again with Samantha and her parents. And her father, as they're having dinner, her father starts, like, choking and grabbing his chest, and he falls over. And her mother is panicking. It's like, oh my God, he's having a heart attack. And she's sitting there calm as a cucumber, goes, it's not a heart attack, mother. Flat as fuck. Like, because she's the one who did it. She used cyanide. She's like, it's not a heart attack, mother. It's cyanide. And her mother also ate some of the cyanide. So her mother has gotten poisoned as well. Then she goes ahead and she chops them up, right? Then she dresses like her father, drives his car, and it looks like that's her dad. Drives the car into, like, a lake and drowns them in drowns the car, basically, because they're not in the car. So she just, like, puts the car underwater. They're in fucking paint cans, buried and shit, right? I'm going to venture that this is, like, her first 2 kills, okay? Her parents. Crazy as fuck. So she's walking along this side of the road. And so she's telling her, she's like, I love this walk. Right. And one of the things that I love about this walk is that I used to come down here to see my friend Lola, and she's talking to her about Nigel and all of the mental problems that Nigel had, and that Nigel was the murderer. And she's like, and Nigel, had a lot of secrets and things like that, in which case he buried them in the house. And she's just like, okay. And she said Lola used to live there. She got, she's talking about people getting pregnant, things like that. And she was like, well, now there's a family that lived there with a small baby, and but the secrets that he had are still in the house. And she's like, and you think that I'm just going to stumble upon them? Yes. And she's like, if you want to do something about finding your brother, about this whole situation, you got to be willing to, you know, do whatever it takes. But I completely understand if you are too scared to do this. Manipulation at its finest. Now, when we get to book 4, there are 3 stories that are kind of intermittent right now. So we have Birdie, who is trying to make friends, but he's trying to make friends on the internet. And once he does, he's like having a chat with someone, and his, you know, little trial thing expires. So he decides that he's going to go down to like the senior center and, you know, talk to them. And he helps out somebody who had fallen out of the chair, who's there, like, they're basically there alone. There's like no nurse or anybody there. So he helps them. And of course, this lady's just going off on him because she thinks that he's 35 and he says that he's 72. And she's just like, y'all don't know how good you have it and all this other nonsense. And it's like, girl, do you need my help or not? The second story is between Charlie's family. So Pauline, their mother, has anxiety medications. I think they're called cloud pills. And basically, they fell out of her pocket, her jacket pocket, and one of her coworkers found it, like put her shit back. But she's just like, you know, if you have an addiction, like, my brother had something similar to that. So like, I feel you, but you should probably get some help. And it's just like, y'all have no idea what the fuck I'm going through at this point in time. Please leave me alone type shit. And she's so anxious all the time. She's like driving with her son, with Lewis, and she runs a red light, and all kinds of things are going on here, and just it feels like a lot. And then the siblings, while they're talking, they miss their dad, and it's just that, like, that family is going through a whole shit ton of stuff, you know what I'm saying? But the last story is between, or the last like plot point is between Monica and Samantha. So Monica is pretending to be like an electrician or something like that, and she goes into the house of the family that Samantha says lives there, and she's looking for something. She's looking for a particular red box, and Sam is telling her in which direction she can go. She has like an earpiece on and everything like that, and it's in the baby's nursery. So she pulls away the like floor thing, the floor panel, finds the box. Well, the mother is just like absolutely panicking, like, oh my God, you're putting something in my son's room. And she's like, no, I'm really not. I found this in here. And she's like yelling for her husband, and she's just like, ma'am, I'm gonna leave. You know, maybe we can calm down a little bit. I'm not hiding anything in here. I'm simply getting something, or I found something. And so when the husband comes up there, he's just like, all right, everybody kind of calm down. And she's like, he's like, what are you going on? And she's like, she was putting something in his room. And she's like, sir, I was not putting anything in his room. I found this in the room. And he was like, well, if you found that, then you should probably give it to me because it's in our house. And he tries to like take it from her. When she snatches it back, he falls down the steps, and it looks like he broke his neck, so he could be dead. There's a lot of things going on. She runs out of the house, and Sam, who is still sitting in the car, is kind of like just still sitting there. Prior to all of that, somebody did see Sam, and she's like, oh, I'm just bird watching before I go to work. So of course, making herself not look suspicious. Good planning. So when the girl runs out, she's like, get me the fuck out of here. And she opens the box and finds all of Nigel's little secret things. And on the back of one of them, it says Samantha's buried treasure, and it has the dates from like 1985 to 1986 or whatever it says for the dates. And she crosses it out before Monica can actually see that. And it's on this map. Now here we go. Okay, so she has this map. This map is supposed to go to where Nigel buried all of those parts. However, the map is actually where Samantha had buried all of that stuff, and it, like I said earlier, it has Samantha's buried treasure on there. So Monica is super excited to get to the spot on this map, and because she wants to find her brother. So like I said, those stories are kind of just like intertwined. So Pauline having this medication, she is just like super nervous and everything like that. I do believe she has taken the medication, and the medication mellows her out, but it also makes her tired. So she then has trouble kind of like driving, and she actually ends up getting in the car. So you want to make note that Lewis has talked to the guy who sells newspapers, and they are standing outside of her store, of Samantha's store. Pauline is getting in the car to drive somewhere. She's dropped her keys. The girl looks tired. Okay. And then there is a guy who's kind of like, I guess he's like a construction worker or a rope worker. He is off to the side. So the setup for this is fucking clean. All right. So they go out. She has metal detectors, and Monica and Samantha are going through using the metal detectors, and they're coming up with these paint cans. The paint cans that have her brother's body parts in them, on top of more. And so as she's pulling out the paint cans, Samantha's helping her pull out the paint cans, and she opens one of the paint cans after Samantha gives her a screwdriver to open the paint can, and she sees her brother in one of them. So she's putting all of the paint cans in the car. And as she's putting the paint cans in the car, she looks at the map, and where Samantha had scratched out Samantha's buried treasure and the dates, she sees it because it kind of just like transferred over to the next page or the next part. When she sees it, she starts freaking out because she sees that Samantha is a fucking murderer. So she decides that she's going to take that road worker's truck. Samantha is not panicking at all. So when she takes the road worker's truck, she like says, you know, fuck you or something like that. And she's ready to go tell everybody what's going on or what's been going on and what Samantha's been up to. So as she's driving, the road worker is just like, hey, you can't take my truck. And he's like going off, and he looks at Sam. Sam hits him in the face hard as fuck with one of those paint cans, and he staggers into the road, and Monica hits him with the truck. Sam gets into her car and chases her. Now, if it is timed correctly, Sam gets hit by Pauline and is being checked out by the ambulance. And Pauline's going to the hospital. So when Sam comes to work, the police come in, and they're just like, oh my gosh, it's like, Sam, you're under arrest for the murder of her brother and apparently the murder of several other people. And she's like, I could have sworn that this had been taken care of. Like, I don't know what you're talking about. This super random woman decides to come into town and is telling you that I killed a bunch of people. Like, what are we doing? What's going on? What's being talked about here? And so then, like, he's going off, and one of the other police officers pulls his gun and is just like almost fucking trigger happy at this point. And when he tells him to calm down and lower his gun, and he turns around, she takes a shot and hits him in the eye. And she pushes a button under her register, which brings out these like saw heads and kills the officers that are in there. She knocks out that one lady. Now, when she knocks out Monica. Now, when she shot the sheriff, that's funny. When she shot the sheriff, and those other cops had died, one of them let off a shot with their gun, went out the window, and it hit the man who was selling the newspapers that was standing there talking to Lewis. And she sets the shop on fire, kidnaps Monica, and goes out the back. So many things just happened. So many, and it was so fast. It was just like a super fast thing of like, it went everywhere. This is such top tier fucking storytelling coming out of IDW. Like, I am in love with this story as a whole. And it's the fact that it's not tied to anything, and it's just one long connected piece. And the fact that we didn't have to get a spinoff of Samantha to know that she's a fucking crazy bitch. Right? We didn't have to get that. We could see her murdering all of these people, her kidnapping these people, her killing these people. And then she comes back and it's like she's normal. And it's like, it's almost kind of like Rennie Bathory from I Was a Fashion School Serial Killer, because she's chilling and she gets that itch to kill somebody, but like her whole thing is she kills people who are doing bad things, whereas she's killing people. Samantha's killing people because she can, because she has the ability to, because it relaxes her. Her bathing in the blood when she was just like, when she was doing that one, it reminded me of that. I was like, it's like she has that itch to kill people, so she acts on it, but she made sure she did not do it in town. That was the difference between her and Nigel, because she knew that this town was fragile, and she's basically like, if I can't stay here, maybe nobody can. Because I was being quiet. I was minding my own business. I was owning the shop. I was doing what did I do to keep my shit in check, so I didn't put my hands on nobody in this town. And here y'all come, minding my business. Crazy. I love it. The conclusion comes out soon, and I cannot wait. I'm so excited. Let me know what you guys think of this one in particular. If you have not gotten either Salt Blood or Midnight Whispers, please do so and look for the next book in the Tidebound Legacy series, which is where Salt Blood is. As y'all already know, we're going through the DC So White, so we are still this many days without a black comic book character with a solo story in the main continuity of DC Comics. So hop on that hate train. Anyway, but that is it for this episode of The Doctor's Office, and I will see you guys at your next checkup.